everybody. I am Melissa McKay. I'm a developer advocate with JFrog, and I'm here at the DevOps Speakeasy at JFocus 2023. And I'm sitting here next to Abdel.
Yes, hi.
Hi. We had the pleasure of spending a lot of time together in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
We've had a couple of conferences starting in Helsinki.
Yes. Yeah. FullConf, first edition.
Yes, it was pretty amazing.
It was very nice.
Now just a quick flight over here, and now we're at JFocus.
Yeah. Again.
So
it sounds like it haven't been a long time ago because last year it was just May.
Right.
So it was just a few months ago that 2022 was around. So
yes. Time is flying by here.
Exactly.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I see you have a booth I've been waving
just
to Abdel as I walk by the booth. And what else do you have going on here at JFocus?
So I had a workshop yesterday. We did like a serverless on Google Cloud workshop, and I have a talk today.
Nice.
I'm going to talk to people about how to build containers without Dockerfile.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a man after my heart. I love
No one
talking
likes
about
Dockerfile,
containers and stuff too. Yeah, very cool. How'd the workshop go?
The workshop went well. Considering we announced it late, I think we had pretty good turnaround.
Yeah.
We'll see for the talk because I think that a lot of people doesn't like to write Docker files. So people will be probably intrigued by the idea of like, how can you build a container without the Docker stuff?
Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean,
maintaining... Is it the same as like, I don't like XML or I don't like YAML. I don't like Docker
files.
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah. I don't know if you've been to the... Like last week in FullConf, Mohammed and Jalal, they did a talk about from Dockerfile to Dockerfile or from Dockerfile to Dockerfile.
Yes, I remember this.
And that was very interesting because they started this idea of like, let's take an app, which they downloaded from Stack Overflow, and then they went through like an iterative process to improve on it.
Okay.
But then at the end of the day, they went through like 6 or 7 or 8 steps, and most of them were focusing on best practices around Docker files themselves,
right.
which there are like a really long list. So there is a very important difference between doing Dockerfile for like a hello world type app and doing Docker files in production, right? Because you have to follow a lot of best practices around security, maintainability, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And I think that if you have to spend so much time doing that, that's time taken away from actually focusing on building your app and making it better. So in my opinion, if I'm a developer and I have something that can make me, allow me to just build the app without fiddling with the Docker stuff, that's good. I mean, nothing against Dockerfile themselves, they're great, but it's an easy way to describe to Docker how to build an image. But if you can have a tool that can just analyze the source code and build the image without you telling them or telling the tool through instructions, that's better. And that's what I'm talking about. It's a tool called BuildPacks.
Okay, that makes sense. I've worked with BuildPacks a little bit before.
Yeah.
I will admit I was one of those developers, I have trust issues.
Okay.
Like if I'm used to doing something manually, it's hard for me to let that go and let something do that automatically for me.
Sure.
But it is interesting how it builds images. I know like for Java, it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it uses Jib, which existed for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
So for a very long time, like for a while now, if you used Maven to build apps, you could just add the Jib plugin.
Yes.
And then you do like a Maven build, and it will build the image and upload it to a container registry for you automatically.
Yeah.
So BuildPacks is kind of the same magic, but without having to write anything in XML.
Nice.
Right.
Now, okay, so I'm used to working with base images, deciding what my base image is going to be. So how does this work with BuildPacks?
So BuildPacks has this concept of builders, and the builders are actually literally the base images plus the building tools.
Okay.
So you can, if you don't do anything, then BuildPacks will pull a bunch of builders from Google Cloud container registry. So we have like a public container registry where we have official images, which are the builders. And inside the builder, there is the base image for whatever programming language you are building for, and or programming language that is supported. And then you have the tools, the build and the compilers, etc. Right?
Okay.
If you don't want to use those, then you can use your own builders. So you can custom build a builder and then use that to build the image.
Awesome.
So
that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very flexible. It's a very flexible tool, actually.
One thing I'd say, just being in DevOps land and especially working with JFrog, I've learned a lot over the years and some experiences with like losing control of dependencies that I didn't realize we needed for a project to build. Maybe some of those base images, you could pull those in internally so that you have access to them all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
you can.
disappear out from under you or something.
If you have something like JFrog Artifactory, you can have the builders hosted on the on
Yeah.
your own Artifactory, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
think that that's pretty similar to any remote repository
Pretty much. Yeah.
of libraries or anything, any dependencies you wanted to pull in. Make sure that you've got a good list of what you need for your project to build.
Exactly.
Very cool. Let's see. What? Oh, so no Docker file.
Correct.
Do you need Docker?
No. It uses, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it uses it uses the OCI stuff, right?
Okay.
The Open Container Initiative, the standard specification for building container images.
Right.
It uses that without the Docker daemon. So
Okay.
you don't need the Docker daemon installed. It has its own implementation of the OCI.
Okay.
Because it's a standard interface. So it's going to produce a Docker-compatible image that you can run either using Docker or Podman or like, Containerd or whatever.
Nice.
Or run on Kubernetes or,
Yeah.
It's a standard OCI image,
I
essentially.
think that was a huge move, right? Do you remember
Yes.
when this happened?
Yes,
When
that was-
OCI came to be and how, yeah, it was pretty hairy there for a little while because, I mean, there's some ownership issues and there's, for the best of the community ideas. But I like having this spec that anyone can follow so that you aren't restricted to one particular tool.
Exactly.
I think any developer gets rebellious when they're restricted to one tool.
Exactly. I think this whole concept of like having specs is not new to the tech field, right?
No,
I mean,
it's
the
not.
whole the whole concept of internet is built on specs.
Yes.
So as long as there are standards that everybody agree they will implement toward, then you as a developer, you still have the choice to use whatever. Like as a developer, you could use Windows, Mac, or Linux.
Yes.
And you can just
Yeah.
produce an artifact that could potentially run on any of those, right? Or
Yeah.
an image that can run on any of those.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your operating system is, as long as whatever you're using follows a certain spec.
Yep.
And that's literally what allows you to connect to Wi-Fi at home as at work, is because
Yeah.
there is a spec behind it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So-
I mean, that's really the only way we can make sure that communication between all of these things works.
Exactly.
Something that I've learned, I guess, later in my career for sure, is just, I always took for granted that these things just exist.
Yeah.
And they don't. They are hard-fought
Yes.
wins, having a spec to begin with and making sure that is applicable to a wide audience
Yeah.
so that everyone can use it. So getting involved in creating those specs, super important.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
going to bring out the CD Foundation here
Yes,
just because
we've been talking about it last week.
Yes, we've been having discussions. There are some special interest groups there that talk about this stuff all the time, and it's really important to get these groups together and get as many perspectives as possible
Yes.
so that what we're building isn't a one-off,
Yeah.
that it only works for a small percentage of developers.
Yeah.
We want something that will accomplish big things.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be working with Abdel perhaps in the future and some of these special
Hopefully,
interest groups
yes.
to get some different perspectives on some of the stuff that we're building. These are all public meetings, by the way. So if you go to the CD Foundation, and I'm sure the CNCF has these as well. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
lots
Yeah, yeah.
of options to get involved with these communities.
I think most of the stuff that are modeled around this, how the CNCF govern projects, follow the same concept, right? Like there
Yep,
are special interest
exactly.
groups. They have meetings. They have maybe technical oversight committees and people that oversight the project. So they
Yep.
allow the project to progress without too much deviation, I think, from standardization.
Yeah.
So it's kind of becoming, like the way open source projects are governed is kind of becoming the same across the board for everything, actually.
Yeah. Kind of, we've got this template going,
yeah, exactly.
right? Like
It's kinda
this is how
interesting.
it's done. This is what's been successful in the past, and this is how we're going to do the next one. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. Getting involved with these programs. Well, super thrilled to be here with you.
Thank you.
It's
I'm
awesome.
happy.
And you actually live in the area,
Yes,
right?
I
so
live
this is
25
your
minutes
home.
from here. Yes.
I'm jealous. It's just gorgeous here. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, the weather is bad right now, so it's not really the best. But Sweden is nice in summer, so I just have to say that.
It's still pretty. It's
Okay,
still
sure.
very,
I'm
very
happy
pretty.
you like it.
I took so many pictures out of my hotel room at night with all of the lights, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, and we
Really
have a
like
nice view from the venue.
Yes.
We're
yes.
literally overlooking the town hall. That's actually the town hall of Stockholm.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I wish you all could see it. Maybe we'll post some pictures
Yeah,
later
maybe
to
on
the
Twitter.
channel so that you can enjoy it as much as we are. All right. Well, I know we have a very busy conference, and I know you have booth duty to get to.
Yes.
As do I, of course. let's get to it and let's hit JFocus hard.
Yes, let's do it. Thank you very much for having
Great.
me.
Thank you.